I remember getting the call, your biopsies came back positive for cancer.
I knew that she was going to get tested for something. I don't get it. She goes, well, really, they don't know yet because they want to do other tests.
I looked up to Jessica. I still today look up to her all the time because she's just been my example.
Anybody that's listening, my daughter was 31.
My exact words were, what do I tell my husband? Am I gonna die? And he said, we're not gonna talk about that.
Was I worried? Yeah, that's my wife. But was I overly emotional? No, because I didn't understand really what it was.
And I said, what do I tell my husband when I hang up the phone? And he said, you could tell your husband you have cancer. And that's what I did.
Jessica and I, we went to Oxnard College together and we met at the softball field. She's a competitor. She hates to lose. Not just emotional, but I would say passionate.
I was introduced to PHP while I was going to college. I got a scholarship to play softball in the Midwest, and I had no clue what I wanted to do. I was invited to a Memorial Day barbecue actually at a PHP office, and I said, I'm gonna do this business part-time, just kind of pay my way through college because I was still taking out student loans even with the scholarship. And I started making more money part-time than I was making full-time as a server. And that's when I kind of started thinking, what if I treated this more like a career? I started looking at it more like a career, and I went to a big event. And that's kind of when Matt caught my attention. We were both doing the business. He was a single dad. I was young, single in college. So we secretly dated for almost a year, and he proposed.
Asked Jessica to marry me at BOM, at training, and did it via PowerPoint. So random, giving everybody promotions, and at the time Jessica was running for promotion for director, and it came up, next promotion, and her name was up there, and she was fired up thinking she got promoted.
I'm like, well, what promotion am I getting? And everyone was screaming, she's hitting director, she's hitting director. And then on the screen it said, will you marry me? So he proposed in front of everybody at the office. He did not say one word, but he got on his knee. And yeah, we got married a year later. I have a stepson, Jared, and he's now in college, and we now have a 4-year-old. So as soon as our oldest turned 18, I made Matt start all over with our little one, Grayson. I always told Matt, I'm gonna live until I'm 100. I never in my mind thought anything would happen to me. My grandmother had passed away when she was 30 from breast cancer. So as soon as I had my son, I started telling my doctor, I want a mammogram. I'm almost 30 years old. I just want to be on top of it. And they told me I was too young for a mammogram. And I did the ultrasound. Same day, they ended up doing 4 biopsies. And all 4 of those biopsies came back positive for cancer. So within that 1 year, I had developed 10 tumors in my right breast.
And then she called and she said, they think I have cancer cells. And I didn't know what that meant.
Finding out a few months later that her mom had breast cancer as well, I think that was a huge, huge part in her being that much stronger, because she knew that if she felt okay, her mom was going to be okay.
Because there were so many tumors, they knew I had to see a surgeon. And I told her, just tell me, do I need a mastectomy? And she said, on the right side, we need to remove the whole breast. And I told her, then I want both of them. Just take them both, get me in as soon as possible. When can we do it? And she said, well, it's probably gonna be a couple months. And I said, I don't have a couple months. We're gonna do this now.
You get a phone call and it's like the progress call. Surgery went well, but expect to get a call from the doctor. And the doctor calls and says that it spread from one area to the lymph nodes, that we got to do a test on that. I was like, what does that mean?
So as soon as I woke up from the surgery, I looked at the surgeon and said, do I have implants? And she said, yes, you do. I said, okay, did it spread? That was my second question. And she said it did. It spread to your lymph nodes. We found a few tumors in your lymph nodes, so you have to do chemo.
But when they said that it had spread, I wanted to get off the phone, go directly to the hospital, and just take her. Because then I just started thinking about Grayson. I was like, man, he's gonna lose his mom. I'm gonna lose my wife. After they did the testing on the lymph nodes and everything and said that they could cut it out from there, then I felt a little bit more at ease. But it was that initial point that where you have no idea what's going on and you could do nothing.
Before all this, I was not a positive person. Even between me and my husband, Matt would call me Jacked Up Jess. That was my nickname because I was more of the realist, negative, like this is what could happen, this is what we need to prepare for. And I think once I found out that this road was going to be a little bit longer than just surgery, I think my positivity came from like, I'm gonna win.
I know one of her biggest fears too with breast cancer was losing her hair. And again, this was one of those things that people tell you, oh, it's just hair. But to her was different. She was like, why does it have to be okay? It's not just hair, it's my hair. And she wanted to make sure that other women didn't feel like that.
I was worried that my husband was not gonna be attracted to me. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about myself. I had just lost like 40 pounds after having a baby. You know, I was having a great year in my business. Like I felt like it was the best year of my life. And then it came tumbling down and it was, how are you gonna react to this? And I started making reels, I started making TikToks.
Hey guys, we just started our second treatment. The machine is on.
I never knew this policy was gonna help save me and my family when I was diagnosed with cancer at 31. Like, I've been hosting these breast cancer pink parties for 8 years talking about breast cancer. So it was really just an eye-opening thing. Like, if God is gonna give this to me, I know He wants me to tell my story. And it was just a couple weeks before my first chemotherapy treatment. And I looked and I'm like, how are you talking about that so with that smile? Like, it was a genuine smile. And I think the thought of keeping my normalcy with my hair was such a big thing for me. I think if I would have lost my hair, I think my journey would have been a lot different. A couple weeks ago, I had found a lump under my arm, and I remember just crying and freaking out because of that lump, because nothing is just a lump anymore. You know, nothing is just a normal mole anymore. Everything is the what if. So the after cancer part, it is hard because you're creating a new normal again.
I really feel Jessica's recovery went so well is because of the policy. Because she didn't have to worry about any type of money. All she had to do was worry about her health and her getting better. So all she had to do was worry about her chemo. All she had to do was worry about her diet. All she had to do was worry about her radiation. All she had to do was worry about getting better.
I looked up to Jessica. I still today look up to her all the time because she's just been my example.
My first policy I got because I wanted the cash value. I had worked in retail and restaurants. That was my only job background. And in those two industries, you don't get benefits. They keep you right under full time, so they don't have to give you any benefits. I actually got my second policy when I got engaged to Matt. So once we looked at our finances together and knew we were gonna get married and all these things, I mainly got it because I had new dependents now. So that's why I got my second one. When I got my third policy, it was actually because living benefits were introduced. So when I heard about this policy, I really got it because I said, there's no way when we're older that my husband's gonna wipe my butt if something happens to me. And so one of our agents, he got me the policy, and it was a small living benefits policy. And I really got it because I thought when me and Matt are older, he's not gonna be very nurturing, and I didn't want him to have to be my caregiver. I wanted my sister to be my caregiver.
Why have it? I never thought my wife at 31 years old was gonna have something like that happen. I'm fortunate that she didn't pass away. We're very fortunate she didn't pass away. But at the same time, this paid out a death benefit that was able, not even a death benefit, a living benefit. Like I said, it was able to keep my wife.
You know, so the comfort of just knowing that your family's going to be okay financially. And anybody that's listening, it's time to live.
I really want people to know how many times, I wish I could just tell them all the times I was in the hospital where someone was crying about money, or they couldn't afford a prescription, or women lost their hair because they didn't want to pay the few $1,000s. They couldn't. As an agent, I know that people need more life insurance. People who don't have life insurance, they need life insurance with living benefits, because I thought I was healthy. I was doing everything anybody could do to prevent having cancer. And I got it at 30 years old. But I got it for when I was 80. But if I would have waited until they said to do everything, my family would not be in the financial situation that we're in today. We would be struggling like a lot of people who go through this journey.
I mean, your family's priceless. Their lives are priceless. But to just have peace is priceless. Comfort, knowing that, you know, they're all going to be okay.
I tell my story a lot on social media. I tell my story a lot in appointments. And one thing that I have really found is people overestimate what it takes to get life insurance. And sometimes it's as simple as messaging an agent and saying, how much would it cost? Because once you know, okay, it costs $50 a month, it costs $100 a month, it's only $50 a month to take care of my family and I never have to worry about it again, then you just know what you need to do if that's important to you. So sometimes asking is gonna save us a lot of time about worrying. So for me, every time people would ask like, well, are you still working? And I'm like, yeah, I am still working. Why? Every appointment I did, I got to tell my story about living benefits. I could work from my phone. Every day after chemo, someone would message me about life insurance or becoming an agent. Work a business where I still could go into an office, come and go as I wanted, while my mom was worried about losing her job. Even thinking now, our family moving from California to Tennessee, if I didn't have that cushion, just that direct deposit going from my insurance, like the peace of mind and the calmness of moving my family across the country, I don't think I would have been in the same place.